Hello, everyone, and welcome back to RHAP. We are here, of course, to talk to the latest player of the Getaway that was voted out. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and we are here today with Patch. How you doing, Patch?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Good to see you. Good guys, good to be here. I've seen a lot of the episodes so far. A lot of interesting hot takes dropped. So
Oh, perfect. This is
Oh,
exactly what we're here for, and there's a perfect person to hear him. It's Sasha. How you doing, Sasha?
yes. So excited. Patch, listen, give us all the tea. Drag who you need to drag. We're ready.
Definitely.
Yes, we are, of course, here after episode 4 of the Getaway. One more episode until the finale. And Patch, the man who almost cracked the code of this show, seemingly.
I did crack the code.
Yeah,
I lied.
You did. You just walked it back, but you cracked it.
I walked it back after they showed me more lies. So, like, what do they expect? I don't know.
They truly just gaslit you into
Like, was I
not
supposed to just
believing
like
the truth.
continuously call them out to their face? Like, even on the Wednesday episode, I'm like telling them, okay, if what you're telling me is true, this is a stupid show. Like, they're like, doesn't make any sense. And I was trying to say that more nicely. I was trying to be a very good sport. Like, one of my goals going to the show was not to be a jerk, basically. Like, I was trying to be nice to everybody. And so, yeah, then they were like telling me, like, yeah, like, no, you could sabotage. Like, you're the only one. But you could do that. I'm like, no, that doesn't, everyone could do that. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh boy. Can you tell us like what the pitch was to get you on the show?
I just got a DM from Dave Wiskus, who runs Nebula. He's like, hey, do you want to be? They're putting together a crew for a show, and it's made by the Jetlag people, and huge fan of Jetlag. So I immediately had to say yes. I went and talked to my wife. I was like, yo, I gotta. It's in like a few weeks, but and she also watches Jetlag, and she's like, well, just don't embarrass us. So it wasn't even a question whether or not I was going to go on. It was just like, don't suck at the show.
What's the verdict?
Yeah.
I think I did okay. I don't know. What do you think?
What's her
You're
verdict?
the audience. Yeah, I'm curious.
Is she proud?
Oh yeah, she's yeah.
Okay.
Well, she's my number one fan, so of course.
Period.
Even if I did stink at it, she probably wouldn't tell me.
A real one. Okay.
Mm.
We'd love to know, have you, like strategy wise, have you been like a fan of strategy shows, reality TV? Like how did you get into this? Or was it just like, hey, jet lag guys, I'm in?
So I haven't watched too much reality TV. Like I honestly was pretty much unaware of Big Brother, except for I have one friend actually who watches Big Brother and watches your show. So shout outs to Ariel. But she'd tell me a little bit about that kind of thing. But like honestly, my experience with strategy, like social deduction games, comes from gaming rather than from TV shows. So I played plenty of like Among Us and like Town of Salem, Werewolf, Mafia, those sorts of games. So I kind of know what the structure of those games tend to be, which is why it was very obvious when they were pretty obvious like departures from the typical structure I would assume. Like for example, the fact that like the loyals did not win when the snitch was gone was like, okay, what do you mean? So then they're just going to be voting each other out for no reason. And that was kind of what cued me in. I was like, well, okay, so if the show can function the same, even if the snitch is already gone, then if I were a loyal, I would think maybe there was never a snitch at all. And then I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's what's going on. Maybe we're all, yeah. So
got it.
that was my like initial thought process. And then other things kind of started to piece together, but then things started to also fall apart. So it was a whole mess.
Also, well, yeah, like tell us the story of the suspicion, the conclusion, and then being gaslit out of
Well, okay. So from the first day, right, we're doing a trivia. And Peter, Foreign Man in Foreign Land, like very quickly threw shade at Steven, like in a not subtle way, when he gets his question wrong. And I was like, dang, man, all right, that was pretty shady. I was like rearing to say the same thing. He like beat me to the punch, you know? So I was like, okay, you're acting exactly how I would want to act if I were the snitch. And then like that night, I like went back over the rules document just to like really make sure I didn't miss anything. And I started to like, that's when I noticed that there was no win condition for the loyals except for surviving until the end. And at that point, I'm like, okay, so the real strategy for this game is different than what I would assume from most of these social deduction games, where like the goal really is not to find who's the bad guy. This really doesn't matter at all. And yeah, I think generally I realized like, even if I was wrong about the whole everyone being a snitch thing, what I was 100% sure of was that it didn't really matter. What mattered was surviving until the end.
Yeah.
And by any means necessary, whether you were the snitch or not. So that was kind of my goal. And my goal going into the show generally was just like to basically to look good. Like I didn't want to like look like a dweeb. I didn't want to go out like a chump. So I wanted to survive till the end anyway, which is why I was playing very safe. But I also wanted to have some like screen presence, which is why like as the show gets on, I get a little more confident and a little bit more like, okay, now I can throw. It's fine. I've made it this far. I've been on screen enough. Like if they get me now, they get me. It's fine. It's good content, whatever. And I also thought I kind of had it on lock with Peter. So yeah, there's a ton of different strategy. Like I don't even know where to start really.
Well, tell me about the first vote, because it was between Steven and Matt. And there was a lot made about like, oh, well, Patch is friends with Matt. And so they're going to be working together, but then you end up voting for Matt to leave. Can you tell us more about that decision?
Yeah. I mean, if we had ever had a chance alone to talk and be like, you want to work together, you want to see this whole thing through, maybe we would have stuck together more, but we really like never had that conversation. And like Georgia basically preempted it by saying, like, she called it out before we even really talked about it. Like she was the first one to call that we were friends. We weren't like never in the van where we were like, well, we're bros, you know, like we're gonna get this through. She just called it out because we've hung out with her in New York in the past. Like I visit New York a lot. Matt lives in New York, so we hang out a fair bit. She was keyed into that because we had dinner with her like once, I think. And so she was ready to go. She had that like in the chamber ready to try to shoot that down before we even got it off the ground.
Oh my God,
but in addition to that, I also felt like Steven made a better case for his like missing the question than Matt did. It did seem kind of ridiculous. And I tried to throw shade a little bit at Steven for like not even trying to kind of piece it together or work it out on the spot. I have no idea how feasible that even is, given that the percentages were like super close. But yeah, that I genuinely felt like Matt just didn't argue his point very well. And it would have looked kind of suspicious for me to vouch for him. Like it would have kind of like locked in that I had to be his friend. Like there could be no other reason than because we're friends for me to not vote for him. So, and I wanted to make sure that I voted for the person who got out. So like making sure that there was someone who voted for Steven, but everyone else got Matt out. Like I was really trying to play up the whole angle of like, it's Peter versus Steven, because he voted for him the first day and Steven survived. But yeah, anyway, so that was the first day, which, I did feel like Steven got a little hosed by the question being so difficult. Like for me, like my question was hard, right? My second question about the venom, how many people could the venom bite kill? That's a difficult question. But they at least gave me like pretty wide ranges. Like one was like, it was like 0, 10, 100, 1,000. Like, okay, if it was like 80, 90, 100, 110, I'd been like, I have no idea. But I knew kind of the ballpark area of how lethal that snake was. So I was able to get that. Whereas in Steven's case, he probably knew a ballpark estimate as well, but that wasn't enough for him. So I felt a little compassion for him there.
Yeah, it felt like you initially had a very good you had a very good start to the game where a lot
Mhm.
of people felt like you were like the most lock safe, loyal player, which
Yeah.
I think early on really mattered. And then
Mhm.
after a couple rounds, it was like, actually, we don't care.
No, it definitely started to matter less and less for sure. I also wasn't like 100% sure on that question. I think I was the only one who took a chance,
Oh.
like trying to get it. Like other people took a
Mhm.
chance trying to throw it, but I was
Yes.
like, no, I want to like ace this because I think it's good content if I ace it. Like I want people to know that I know animals, so I went for it. But like I really was not sure. Like if they told me it was actually 10, I would have been like, dang, guess I got it wrong.
Mhm.
Um, one thing I don't think I've heard people talk about on your show yet
Mhm.
is that like we didn't realize we also could have really screwed each other reading the questions to each other. We could have
Ooh,
like
Oh,
yeah.
none
yes.
of us thought to do that. Sam, I think, mentioned it at the premiere, like that they like, why don't you any of you guys do that? We just didn't think of it. I don't think we knew what we could and couldn't get away with. You
Mhm.
know,
Right.
like we none of us thought to ask until like the Wednesday when Steven is asking Adam like, oh, can I show them the book or whatever? Like none of us thought, hey, if I read this question wrong, will you like
Yeah.
expose me? Because we were all very nervous. But it would have been very easy to just be like, okay, like flip the multiple choice. Like, nope, actually D is A, that kind of thing would have been very easy. But also it would have been really obvious if someone's like, no, I know the answer. I'm 100% sure. Let me look it up on my phone. No, that is the answer. How is this? How did I get this wrong?
Yeah, especially if
That's
you
why-
haven't like checked with them, like, am I
Yeah,
allowed to do this? And then like somebody gets it
Exactly.
wrong, they're like, let me see that.
yeah,
So you're
yeah.
just immediately caught.
Although I didn't correct when I was reading the question to Peter.
Mhm.
He's like, I didn't even know the Aristocrats was a movie, and I didn't tell him no, it's the Aristocats, not
Yes.
Aristocrats. So he got that wrong, but he was trying to get it wrong anyway, so whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's also really hard when it's the first thing you do out the gate and you're the
Yeah.
only in your mind. So you're just like, dude, I'm just trying to get through the first.
Yeah, I really was not trying to sabotage. I was playing like going into the show in general. I wanted to look good. Like they asked me before I got on the show, they're like, "What character do you think you'll be?" And I was like, "Well, I want to be like the heroic guy. I want to be the main character. I want to be the protagonist." So I wanted to be nice and be kind to everyone and not sabotage until I felt like I'd already had a few good moments at least. So
Mhm.
that's how
So
I
then
played it.
how did it feel that you got the snitch where you're like, oh, I'm still the antagonist?
I was like, I had all these lines. Like they were filming us as we're opening the thing, and they're like asking us what you plan to do and
Yeah.
all this. And I was like, all my plans are out the window. I thought there was no chance it was going to be me. So yeah, that was like, I'm glad I didn't use any of the footage from that initial interview because I was obviously very nervous and very stressed getting that information. And I was probably looking like a bumbling idiot. But yeah, I really, at that point, I had to really quickly come up with a plan. So my plan then was, well, okay, I'm going to try the classic Among Us strategy called the marinade, which is you befriend someone who you know is innocent and hope that they're your ride or die and can help you tackle the game, which of course is basically what everyone decided to do. It's just, well, yeah, it didn't work out for me. I'm trying to not spoil anything, but it definitely didn't work out in my case.
So you did you quickly kind of go for foreign as your guy?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Honestly, like he's just a fun guy. I thought he would make a good ally, and yeah, apparently I was wrong. But like from the second day, I felt like defending him. Like I had a chance to either throw him under the bus or defend him, and I thought, well, if I defend him, I'm pretty sure I have an ally, like without question.
We thought so too.
Yeah. So didn't work, but honestly, it should have.
It seemed like you didn't have really much of an opportunity to talk to him about how hard they were pitching him until the next day during the voting segment. Like you didn't really have much time alone to really like talk to him about that and like get him on your side until it was almost too late. It seemed.
Yeah, it's true. Which I don't know if I would have told him, knowing that he had also been kind of backstabbing me the whole time. But if I think what really went wrong was that I talked to him first, and then Steven and Georgia both had a chance to grill him and be like, no, you have to flip. Like if I would have went last, I think things would have gone differently. They asked us, they were like, oh, do you guys want to like break out and like talk to each other? And I was like, well, I just want to talk to Foreign real quick.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, let's all talk. And I was like, no, I don't want to all talk. I just want to talk to him and then just get it on the road. So yeah, didn't work. Honestly, I feel like his moves make even less sense knowing that that he was also the snitch. Like he says in the in the episode that just premiered, the start of the Thursday episode, I'm like, Peter, what happened? Why did you not save me? I thought we were allies. And he's like, well, I thought maybe you were trying to like use our friendship against me and like really kind of use that to your advantage. And when he said that, I was like, dang, he like really called me out. He saw right through me. But no, he didn't. He just played like he was also the snitch. It doesn't make any sense at all. So I really don't understand his call there. I don't know. I'm sure you'll get to talk to him.
Yeah, I'm very curious to hear what he says about like the strategy there. Like I think probably my best guess, and I think I've already tried to make a best guess already, but like my current thought would be that, and maybe this was sort of what I was saying before, but almost you might have been too clean as not the snitch.
Sure.
And so bringing you to the final three puts him in the hot spot of like, you know, if you're the person that people think of the snitch the least, then you get to make the final three decision of who you're bringing with you. And he was pretty suspicious. So
yes,
there would have been a lot of reason for you to maybe bring Georgia over him.
Attention to himself in pretty obvious ways. So
yeah.
It does it's that angle of like, well, if you're the guy most like likely to win, maybe you're the one to take down.
Yeah. Which
makes me think maybe I should have just like, I think I probably could have played Dan better than played Peter.
Yeah.
Like Dan in the second episode, he's like, well, you know, Patch, you're just so awesome. Like I would never vote for you. I should have just been like, okay, well, you're my new ally, actually. Psych, Peter, goodbye. But no, I was locked in on my plan. I thought for sure that rescuing him was the move.
Was there anything besides, of course, winning safety you think you could have done in part two?
With the exception of like maybe making someone else think that they were getting voted for to somehow convince Steven to not vote for me, which was like, I don't know, pretty much impossible. I think without winning the safety, it was like pretty much a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would have had to pull some real insane mind games to twist that. And yeah, didn't work out.
Okay, so tell us about, so you looked after the first night, you looked into the rule sheet. You started thinking this game is stupid if there's not something else going on here. And when did you decide that you wanted to like confront like Sam and Adam about this, like ask them the question?
So I decided right then, like I was practicing that line.
Wow.
The first night, you know, I was like, how do I say this the coolest way so that I sound really, really confident? We're all snitches, aren't we? Like I wanted to make sure that they at least thought I was super confident, because I thought if they really thought that I knew, they'd be like, ding, 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 you got it. Good job. Like you've solved the case. Now feel free to do with that what you will. I really thought that's what they were going to do. So I felt like I just had to really say it with all my heart. And, you know, if I was wrong, they would make me look stupid. But if I was right, it would be a really cool moment. Turns out I was right, and they decided to make me look stupid anyway. Which I thought was a bit rude, but whatever.
So the posters like just snowed you totally?
Well, yeah.
Okay. So it was a combination of a few things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the whole time and I think mostly because the whole crew was nervous to spoil anything. They all were like pretty standoffish and acted like they were constantly annoyed with me, especially when I brought that up. Like when I said it to the camera, I'm sure if I had looked around and noticed some of the reactions, maybe it would have seemed different. But Sam did a pretty good job, basically like coming off kind of condescending and like, "Are you insane?" Like he made me feel like I was actually crazy, and I was like, "Dang!" Like my one goal in the show was to not embarrass myself, and here I am spouting wild conspiracy theories on TV. So I was like, when he reacted like that, I actually thought, "Oh, I'm really stupid, and I gave you guys way too much credit. I thought the show was cooler than it was." So yeah, it was very stressful. Like you can see in the clip where I'm explaining why I think what I think. I'm like shaking. My face is like twitching because I'm that stressed. Because I really didn't want to look stupid on camera. But oh well.
You did not. I want to make that very clear because I was like, "Look at Patch, he's so smart." I could never.
I'm glad you think so. I'm like wearing a Hawaiian t-shirt, my hair's blowing in my face. Like I felt.
And what? No, seriously. It was. I personally, because I think in real life I'm not a rule follower, but I think when it comes to these moments, I very much like to be like, well, these are the parameters. We got to play in the sandbox.
Yeah.
And so seeing someone, I think, be like, that's cool, but it doesn't work for me. It just feels so exciting because they're like, he got him. Yes, let's do this match. We're riding with you until the wheels fall off, and then the posters come.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, I feel like you made the show a lot more interesting. With the theory and them having to try to trick you. I almost wish that they hadn't tried so hard to distract you.
I saw a lot of similar comments on Reddit. Like a lot of people were like, why did they feel the need to try to trick him again? Like, isn't the cooler story that he figured it out and then he can use that? But I guess that they felt differently. So with the poster you asked about, like, it was kind of a combination again of like, here's the poster and the way that they were speaking to me. And also we had just finished a challenge where I'd been spat on and bitten by animals. And I was just like so tired. I was like, oh, okay, fine. Yes. Okay. I get it. Whatever. I'm stupid. Thank you very much. But Sam even said, like I said, oh, okay, there's no other snitches, huh? And Sam says, that's the premise of the show. And I have racked my brain trying to figure out how that is not a bold-faced lie. Because he keeps saying, oh, we never lied to you, right? And I'm like, okay, if you're going to like really go by the letter of the word, exactly how you've said things, then I'm going to do the same thing right back to you. And that to me sounds like you did actually say to my face, yes, you are the only snitch, without using those exact words. So I don't know.
You could theoretically say that if you were saying there's no other snitches and him saying that's the premise of the show, that you think there's no other snitches.
Yeah, I guess there could be a second order interpretation of it. But like that to me sounds like, okay, you're giving you like, I think Sam and the crew gave themselves maybe a bit more benefit of the doubt than they deserved in that regard. So I don't know about that.
Listen, it's very much girl boss gaslight gatekeep.
It is. I did see yesterday, I watched Ben's interview where he did specifically use the words, we lied to them a whole bunch. So like, I got you now. Yeah, there's no more ifs, and or buts about it.
Screenshots, timelines. Yes.
Yeah.
Ben did mention that they had pulled the dress Matt up as Miss Terry thing before, and he thought that you had seen it earlier. Was that the case?
I did see it on Tuesday. They were like pretty obvious about it to the point where it was like, what are they doing? Like we pull up to the venue where we're going to vote each other off on Tuesday. Matt is like standing out like near the other bus, and Adam is like, go, push, and like pushing him, and Matt is like pretending not to get the message, like to get the hint. And I don't know. To me, I was like, all right, I don't know what that was, but it doesn't seem relevant. Like, I think what they, I really don't know what they thought we would do with any of this, because we all know that we are the snitch. So like, we're not going to be like, oh wait, maybe Matt's the snitch. Like, no, either you think everyone's a snitch or you think you are the only snitch. Either way, you're not going to be like, oh, it's actually the guy who we already voted out.
He's Miss
I'm not really
Terry.
sure what we were going to do with it. So
Yeah. Okay, so the poster helps convince you, and my thought was, if the poster wasn't enough, the fact that when you got voted out, there was a magical twist that saved you would have been enough to convince me, oh, these really are just bad showrunners, and they're desperate to save me, the snitch.
I did think that, yes. When they saved me, I was like, oh, okay. Because I was talking a big game about how I'd figured out the whole thing, right? I was saying to Sam in the interview after the alpaca challenge, I was saying, well, it's only going to be me and one other person, or it's going to be two people on the last day anyway. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the other things that made me think, oh, it doesn't matter who is the snitch or not, because there's literally only going to be one person left at the end. We have 6 people, one person eliminated every day. That leaves one person. So that means basically it's probably going to be someone gets voted off every single day. And then on Friday, it's just like a head-to-head challenge. And whoever wins that wins the whole thing. That's all that matters. So when I was not eliminated on Wednesday and I was saved, I thought, oh, okay, I don't know everything. I've clearly been a little overconfident in some stuff. So that made me think, okay, I don't know everything about the show. They probably haven't lied to me. There's just some other stuff they haven't told me. And they haven't told everyone. But also the poster, they told me it was a mock-up of what they were going to use for the show. That's definitely a lie, because there was no universe where that was ever going to be the actual poster they were going to use. Like, that's not what a mock-up is. A mock-up is like, you're making this for the purpose of using it in an actual promotional material. Not true.
I think
They were never in a million years was that actually going to be the poster that they were going to use.
Well, they did use it in the show.
They use it in the show, I suppose, yeah, to trick me, but that's the purpose. The purpose is very different. There's a poster that you made specifically with the express intent of tricking someone, and then there's a poster you make as promotional material. These are different things.
I think they said mock and maybe not mock up.
Maybe they did.
No, I'm joking. It's just mocking at this point. Did you? So, I'm just trying to think if there was a Hail Mary moment for you. You're sitting at that second elimination, right? And you've thought through everything. Did the hey, we're all a snitch ever come back in your brain at this, maybe Hail Mary moment? Or I can argue against why you wouldn't. You'd be like, yeah, you suffer too, jerks. But is there a moment, where there was some kind of Hail Mary with this?
So I saw a few comments on Reddit about this too. People saying oh, he should have just tried to expose everyone. And part of it was that they every time we were doing an elimination vote, or really just any time ever, they were constantly drilling into us never, ever, ever, ever in 1,000 years reveal your role.
Okay.
So I was like, well, okay, I'm just not allowed to say that. That was genuinely my understanding. Okay. So I had a few other ideas. I was going to perhaps come up with the true galaxy brain plan if I was 100% sure. If Sam would have confirmed to me that I was in fact not the only one, and that in fact it was everyone, I would have probably then invented a whole new role for myself. I would have been like, yo, Peter, I'm actually the detective, and I have discovered that you are in fact the snitch, but it's okay because I'm allowed to win either way. I would have tried to really sell up this whole idea of I do know everything. I would have invented roles for everyone. I'd be like, okay, Georgia's she wins extra money if she never gets any votes against her or something like that. Some real total nonsense to totally blow the whole game wide open. But I wasn't sure. So I could never feel super confident in that kind of thing. But I don't know. Maybe I should have.
I love that. Yeah.
That would have been very funny to watch.
Exactly. Well, viewer, I wish. Let's run it back.
Well, yeah. Blame Sam for not telling you. For not answering my blasted questions when I asked him directly to his face. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't imagine the stress.
Yeah.
Oof.
All
I
right.
do
Well,
have one last question, but
oh yes.
unless Taran has like, yeah, have you recovered from the alpaca spit?
I did recover. I, in fact, even have a little plushy alpaca that I got at that ranch specifically.
Oh
So,
my god.
yes, I do still love alpacas. I think they are pretty gross, but as the resident animal fan and animal enthusiast, I couldn't stay mad forever.
Where do alpacas fall on the tier lists?
You'll just have to wait and see because I'm working on a video about that because I want to promote the Getaway, of course. And I feel like the best segue would be to make a video about camels and llamas and alpacas because they're all pretty closely related. So that's the plan.
Yeah,
Ooh,
alpaca versus snitches. Who comes out on top?
Yeah, exactly.
Odin comes out on top every
He certainly. That dog was dogging the whole time. I was trying to be like, please stop. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing all of us. I don't know what they're going to be able to show even at this point.
everything apparently.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. I was surprised, but yeah.
Oh my god, Odin
Oh,
will
boy.
live in infamy. I swear.
He was dogging. He was really out there dogging.
He was the true snitch all along.
He was certainly something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else that you like that maybe we missed or that we haven't talked about or noticed that you want to bring
Well,
up?
you want to talk about the other challenges? Like we didn't really like as the Tuesday like guest or host of the thing. That was pretty easy. Let's see. For Wednesday, the alpaca challenge, like I genuinely did miss. I genuinely could not believe that Peter managed to slip off the mask on the alpaca without anyone seeing. Like I couldn't fathom doing that. One, because I thought that'd be really dangerous when we're all holding onto the thing. Like I was like, dang, that was actually like a pretty gnarly move to pull there, bro. But I also just couldn't believe that he was that like quick at that. And I couldn't see. It was smart because like we were all like grabbing its legs, like not looking up. We were just looking at the thing's feet. So it really was the perfect opportunity. I gotta give him props there to throw shade at me. And I fell for it. Like I won because I thought Peter was my ally. I thought he wouldn't be sabotaging me. And two, I just didn't think that was like a feasible way to sabotage. Like, sure, you might like accidentally let something go or like take a pratfall, which he did do. But to do that was pretty tricky. I gotta give him props there.
Did you hear the revelation that Ben's hat was not actually?
I did. He told me that after. He told me that they pulled the rule of cool in my favor in that case, which I do appreciate because it was a fun moment. But yeah.
It was a cooler way of doing that challenge than just hiding.
I was very satisfied. I looked Ben dead in the eye and said, "It's time, dude," and I took off his hat. I felt very happy with myself there. And when they actually confirmed it, I was like, "Oh dang!" I thought for sure I was just kind of messing with Ben, but we take those, I guess. Yeah.
And then, could you believe that they fell for your "let's go for the nails" hardest task idea first?
Oh, okay. This is one thing I did actually want to talk about.
Yes.
I felt like they basically cut out all of my defenses for this, but I felt like I made a pretty good case to the point where even Georgia was like, okay, yeah, I get what you mean. I'm still good. She was like, I'm still gonna vote for you, but I do see your points.
Okay.
Where basically like because that was literally the last thing that we had done in like the training. Was like we learned how to cut the nails. So I was like, guys, okay, this is fresh in our minds. Let's get this out of the way. It's gonna be hard, but we know how to do it. We don't know what else we don't know how to do. We don't know what we don't know. We do know this. And I feel like it'll really invigorate us. I was trying, again, play into the whole hero character thing where I was like, no, if we could do this, we could do anything, like that whole sort of vibe. And a lot, they were like, okay, I kind of see your point, like that kind of thing. And I was also throwing way more shade at Steven. Like it was very obvious that he was just not doing a good job. So I was just being like, look, dude, if this is what you thought, if you thought that was a bad idea, it was your freaking job to tell us, okay, you are the guy who's directing this whole thing. You should figure that out, not me. And also like, it was clear we were getting the wrong alpaca all the time. I think it happened more times than they even included, but we were constantly like wrestling and wrangling the wrong one. And I was like, all right, look, he had some plausible deniability given that like the other two challenges we'd done up to that point were also a little scuffed. Like the first one, like it was pretty clear Steven's question was just like way too hard. And the second day, the freaking grills weren't working. So they're serving raw pancakes. So we thought, oh, okay, like it's believable that maybe the photos aren't that good. But I was still like, oh, I don't know about that, bro. Also, that was kind of BS that they like literally corroborated his story. Like the showrunners were like, sure, you can do this. This is a good sabotage. This will work. We won't out you. I was like, all right, man. Like you're definitely doing them a few favors there. But yeah, I didn't think of anything to pull along those lines with the host role. Like when I was kind of in the driver's seat of a challenge, I felt like there was actually very little for me to do. Maybe I should have thought better, but or maybe I should have just like helped Peter and Dan more instead of helping everyone equally. But okay, I thought there was no way when they announced the results or when they were about to announce the results. I was like, oh, Peter and Dan definitely won, because they showed it a little bit in the show, but like there was a solid minute and a half at least where Georgia was just on the ground. Like she was panicking. She was actually like, I was like, dang, she's kind of cracking under pressure here. They showed a little bit where she's kind of just like laughing really hard and just on the ground. But this went on for like a minute at least. And I was like, dang, they're screwed. Georgia's actually throwing. So I was really shocked when they managed to win. I guess I filled their water a few too many times.
Well, I mean, similarly, I was pretty shocked when they won the most recent immunity.
Oh my gosh! Oh, I was trying to be a very good sport about this, right? But I was like, really? The rock is, you could just grab a rock and just color it with the pen?
I heard you say,
a regular pen is not going to color a rock. That's clearly a marker. What are we talking about here? So
yeah, that did confuse me when she was like, luckily they called it a pen. And I didn't realize that like the store clerk had was the judge of what was what.
Right. And like, sure, fair enough. It's, if that's how they want to play it, that's fine. They did also do us the favor with the dog treat. I heard them talking to you about how Dan did actually, which is hilarious because I called that out in the show. I was like, I don't know, Dan might be the kind of guy who's actually eating dog food. You never know. So I felt pretty good about that. Like fine, if it's the dog treat that does a sin, that's pretty funny. So I'm fine with it.
You would have been like, eat it again then.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you like these? Here you go.
Yeah. Eat it now. You
exactly. Must. Yeah, this is your favorite. We brought you more.
Yeah, it seemed like the difference did come down to like the rock and the couple of things that Georgia was able to get for free.
It did. I should have known. Like playing a shopping spree game against a parent, like any parent is going to be very thrifty. So I was like, there's no way we're winning this one, pal.
She kept
especially
saying
haggling,
Scottish, right? And I was like, what am I missing here? Are Scottish people good at shopping?
I guess there's some sort of trope of them being like very like cheap. I don't know. I have not really heard this. I don't know many Scottish people. I didn't even know Georgia was Scottish until he said that. I was like, the first time you're dropping this deep lore about yourself. But sure. Yeah, she was very clever. She like, honestly, I think I was just too proud. I was very prideful. I would have never even thought to like haggle or be like, no, please, can I have this for free? Like I was trying to be like super, super nice and like, oh, we're barging into your business, scrambling around, moving stuff around, all that stuff. And I would have never thought that they would have the patience for me also on top of that asking, hey, can I have a discount? Can I get one of these for free?
I completely agree. I was watching Georgia just like, oh God, no.
But it worked. It worked. Yeah. Whatever it takes. Gotta hand it to her. She gamed, like I said in the show, she gamed the game in a way that I didn't even conceive of, which was, I gotta respect it. So and also returning the thing, I would have been like, okay, not only did we barge into your place, ask for discounts, move stuff around, and then here I show up again. Can I get my money back real quick? Actually, take this garbage. Like, I can't believe she did that.
Can you please hurry up with the counting of the money, please?
Yeah, oh my gosh, what a mess.
Oof.
But yeah, I also thought to myself, okay, if they're gonna let her get away with that, could I have just like stuffed my own money into the box and said that we got extra money? Because Sam gave us a bunch of like spending money for the week to like buy meals and whatever. And on the first day, we started out in Vegas, right? I went to the poker table and I doubled it. So I was like, I got like a pretty decent wad of cash. I would gladly spend a few $100 extra, throw this in the bag to guarantee I win this challenge, like 100%. But I don't know. I was, again, trying to give the showrunners the benefit of the doubt and assume that wouldn't fly. And it probably wouldn't have, honestly.
Yeah.
But I didn't even think to try it or I didn't think it would work, so I didn't try it. So, yeah. Anyway,
I noticed that it seemed very hot, but all of you were wearing like layers and you were running around.
It was pretty cold, actually, surprisingly.
Okay.
Well, because one, it was very not humid. It was very dry out in the Southwest. So at least on that front, like even if it did get hot, we weren't like sweaty. So it didn't matter too much. We would cool down very quickly. And yeah, like in the mornings, it was very cold, actually. Like we would walk out of the hotel, it'd be like 50 some degrees. We could like see our breath sometimes even. So it was like a little chilly. So like you can see me even in, I think it's the first challenge. I start off just wearing the sort of like salmon orange colored shirt. And then in the actual trivia, I'm wearing like a windbreaker because it was it was cold and windy. So yeah, it wasn't too hot.
Yeah, when I did Paige and Zion, like I did a whole road trip. Yeah, it's freezing. So I even close to the summer, Sedona was cold too. So
Sedona's beautiful, but yeah, that can get cold for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I wish they would have included more shots of me finding animals, because I was like the whole road trip. I'm like, oh look, there's a bird, there's a pronghorn, there's a buffalo. I think they did include the buffalo, but yeah. The whole time I was having a good time. I really did enjoy the trip and the scenery. It was a very beautiful location, very cool place. I'd never really been. I've been to Arizona, but I've never been to Utah, and I've only been to Vegas in Nevada. So it was cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mystical. I love that area.
All right. Anything else, Patch?
Any
other hot takes?
Yes.
Any hot takes? Well, I'll say this. Okay. They keep asking, like, I hope they forgive us, about this whole thing. Look, I forgive you, but I'm forgiving you less and less the more you double down on the whole, like, you never lied. You did lie. Stop it. Okay. You're done with that.
Said, own it. Own the villain.
Own up to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Patch calls out the showrunners.
No, don't clip this.
Yes.
Put it in the short. No, I try to be a good sport, and I still think I'm trying my best to, like, it was a fun show. I'm very glad that they let me be a part of it. And for all the shenanigans they pulled, I think they still made something really awesome. And I'm excited to see everyone's reaction to the conclusion of the show.
Yeah, and you were awesome. And we said, a strategy king. I know Taran was doing backflips because he said, finally, I have someone to talk strategy with. Listen, we were ready for you, and you killed it.
Cool. I'm glad you enjoyed my time on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, genuinely, I think that I think the show's premise works less. It doesn't work as well without you there, like putting them on their back foot. You know what I mean? And questioning the entire thing. Like if nobody had ever questioned it the whole time, I feel like I would have been disappointed.
Yeah.
So,
even though they did manage to trick me again, I'm glad I at least, like, I'm sure I stopped a few hearts in that moment. Clearly Sam was saying, I borderline had a heart attack there. My heart rate's going crazy. So I at least got them a little bit.
You did.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Patch, for joining us. Can you tell people about your channel, what you do, where they can find you?
I run a channel called Tier Zoo. It is a wildlife ecology, evolutionary biology education channel, but it is framed through the lens of gaming. So I do a lot of gaming analogies. I make tier lists talk about which animals have the coolest abilities and the best stats, that kind of thing. And it's a real fun time. If you're a gamer or someone who is interested in animals, you'll probably like the show. I'm not personally on the show. I'm the voice of the show, and I write the show, and I come up with the ideas and everything, but my face isn't in it. So this was my first time being actually an on-camera person on a big video series. So, which is why I was very nervous a lot of the time, and I wanted to make sure I looked good and not silly. So, yeah, I think that's.
Do you think you're gonna do more on-camera stuff now, or
if they have me back? I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit too smart to be messed with. Maybe just on the border, I'll keep them guessing, but I'll still play along. Yeah, we'll see if they
bring him back. This is us yelling, "Bring him back!"
Yeah, if they have me back, I would 100% be glad to rejoin. But so far, I don't have any plans.
All right. Well, that's what we have for you guys then. Thank you so much for listening to the latest exit interview for The Getaway. We will be back next week for the finale, and we will talk to the finalists, you get their view on the show and their experience. So stay tuned for that. Of course, we've got plenty of Big Brother coverage happening as well, amongst lots of other things. Sasha is doing some things as well.
Yes, just follow him with the Twitter. You'll know when things come up. It's too much.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here today, and we will see all of you next time.